Chapter 21. A new movement, bordering the Great Jaro Forest, was the Count territory of Falma's kingdom. On the frontier existed those willing to protect the area. Their main forces consisted of a knight order under the control of the Count. Although the members usually only consist of 100 people, the Count declared a state of emergency. Those who had retired were recalled, and the numbers were now nearly 3 times than the usual, with 284 people. The next largest force here was the adventurers from the Freedom Association. They had taken requests to hunt monsters threatening the land in the vicinity. However, this was not an urgent matter, and naturally they finished the request without any difficulties. To serve as lookouts around the Count's territory, mercenaries were hired. Although some were talented, many are still just novices. Thus, when the monsters started to move, they all were employed to scout the surroundings. However, in reality, they didn't treat their work seriously, the main cause of which being the fact that Count Needle Mygum had been stingy with money used to employ them. So, who can subdue the monsters if the Free Association didn't take the requests? Normally, it was the job of the knights. However, fools, when the knights leave the territory, there is a chance for the cities to be attacked. Who will protect the town? So the frightened count did not permit their dispatch. Money was a problem. Moreover, the knights could not move in order to protect the town. Further complaints came from the villagers. They complained about damage caused by monsters that neither the adventurers nor Count did anything about. However, the association in this case can't receive a subjugation request due to a single rule. The circumstances involved did not allow it to so easily accept. After all, if you going to hunt for rank B plus monsters, multiple adventurers of the same rank are needed, at least 3 more people. Even if 10 adventurers with rank B try to subdue it, even if they were successful, there would surely be casualties. Furthermore, just because a sighting was confirmed, it didn't mean that the subjugation can be begin immediately. Normally, there was not many rank B plus adventurers stay at the frontier. The problem was that monsters would appear too frequently. Thus, they were unable to effectively move between requests. They'd receive the request, subdue the target, and then come back. The time involved between each step became a problem. To patrol the village, an organization responsible for subjugation was necessary. In response to these circumstances, reluctantly, the Count Needle Mygum set up an organization. He called it Frontier Garrison. Its member consisted of 30 people. Moreover, they mostly consisted of criminals charged with trespassing on private property, disorderly behavior, or small-time violent crimes. So it's actually a facility for small miscreants, a correctional institution. They were servants of the knights at times, and they served as opponent for the knights' mock battle. Thus, their service was meant to rehabilitate them. They chose a person among them as their captain, or rather they were forced to choose, and were sent as guards of villages. For Count Needle Mygum, the plan looks appealing because it not only can solve the village's problem. Even if they had died, his wallet wouldn't suffer. It's the extent of his plans that he's doing, but Fumu, sly dog, well, to gain our freedom, we should accept it graciously, the man named Yomu said. Due to his appearance, originally he had not wanted to merely end up as a small miscreant. He hoped he can become the boss of the back streets or slums, but it seems the world didn't let this mutt take the center of stage. Later, the frontier guards, led by him, showed remarkable results, and he became the frontier village's savior. Fuze, belonging to a small kingdom, Vermont, he was the Freedom Association Borman Branch Guild Master. His former ability as adventurer was upper rank A-. He was a remarkable adventurer. As he promised to Baron Belliard, he immediately conducted his own investigations. As a result, in response to a report from the information section, it seems there were no improvements in the Empire. But it didn't mean that the Empire wouldn't move later, so he had concluded. Thus, in the future, they should continue observing the Empire. It's not work that they normally do, but there was no other choice. It's his decision. Then the news from the investigation team was received. When he entered the room, he slowly sat on the sofa. Their confidential discussion was set to be held in the drawing room. On the sofa, facing him, sat there 3 people, 2 men and a woman. They were adventurers with a B rank, excelling in covert operations. Guido, with his job as a thief, is a man with excellent information gathering skills, outstanding in defense. Cabal, with his job as a heavy warrior fighter, his role was that of the tank. He enjoyed goofing off but was polite when working, specializing in particular magic. Ellen, with job as magic spell user, sorcerer, skilled in diverse magic but excellent with movement-based magic, carefully providing support in order to increase the survival rate of the party. They were all noteworthy individuals. They were the team that was ordered to inspect the cave where Veldora was sealed. His first thought was, please come back safely. To begin with, the proper level of that cave was rank A-. Actually, he wanted to do it himself alone, but because of his responsibilities as the guildmaster, he could not move freely. Meanwhile, the other rank B plus adventurer were not asked to inspect the current situation of Eldora. The reason they were requested was because of their high survival rate and high information gathering capabilities. Rather than during subjugation, if they were sent to collect information while avoiding battle, their abilities surpassed those of other rank B adventurers. However, if something were to happen to them, it would be his fault. It was an obvious violation since him, as the branch chief himself, had ordered them, but it was absolutely necessary for them to check. That is why the one who most pleased with their return was Fuse. Let's hear the report. Fuse never showed emotion in discussion or during questioning. He was grateful in his mind, but he didn't express it in words. The three were familiar with this trait. All I hear is, wasn't it tough? I want to quickly take a back. It was tough. It was hard to mediate the quarrel between Dana and Nessan. I thought I would be easily trampled to death. That was their typical reaction when reporting their findings. However, their faces were serious, and then they started to report battle with monsters in the cave. The guardian having deceived the storm snake's tempest snake senses. They removed the seal on the door and entered. Confirmation of the disappearance of Dodora. Inside the door, they investigated for about a week, but could not confirm the presence of any living thing. And the most curious detail, and that after we concluded the investigation on the inside, the storm snake was nowhere to be found. That's right, since I can't use any withdrawal type magic indoors, I spent many hours planning our escape from the storm snake, but it was all pointless. I was just thinking that I'd be able to mix illusion magic and heat manipulation as a decoy, but no. On a serious note, I worried that although we were able to get here, we won't be able to get out, but that's what they reported. Heck, what was that thing? That was a monster of rank A minus. It was the strongest presence inside the cave. Probably I would not win on my own against that monster. That was precisely why the probability of success in this mission was greatly reduced. Fuse thought so. Again, what is happening in the land at the moment, that was not something to think about, so Fuse concluded. Well, you guys have a nice break for 3 days. After that, once again, I want you guys to investigate the forest. This time, it is not necessary to enter the cave. I want you guys to investigate the surroundings thoroughly and carefully, so go. I'll go, see you. What? 3 days? Give me more rest, please. Hey, anyway, I guess it's useless to no matter what I say. Although they said those things, Fuse did not care. It was more important to organize the information they brought. Heck, what was happening in that forest? Fuse was deep in thought. When he opened his eyes, his mood changed. He glared at the three people. What are you guys doing? Get out! Saying that, he drove off the trio. Sakaguchi Hinata was bored, assigned to guard the inside of the palace of the Holy Rebellion Kingdom. She was her private chambers alone. This world was boring. When she first came to this world, Hinata was still 15 years old. On the day of her first year high school entrance ceremony, she was on her way home, but didn't particularly want to come back. When she passed by the shrine, she always stopped by. A strong wind suddenly blew throughout it. The wind forced her eyes shut. Once she opened them, an unfamiliar scenery had spread before her. Hinata rejoiced. Her mother was a religious addict, and now she had been released from it. Her father had long ago disappeared. He lost great sums on horse races and left them with an enormous debt. Mother fled to religion because she couldn't withstand the beatings from father. After careful planning, Hinata killed her father as to help her mother and receive life insurance money. After a bit more, the insurance money would be paid out. The secret had not been exposed. Thus, her father was treated as a missing person. Thank goodness. Oh well, if you think about it, in this state, it seems necessary to commit another murder. To murder the zealot who pushed her mother into religion, and sooner or later end her own mother. Hinata was calmly analyzing the situation. That's why she didn't want to stay at home. In this place, there was no need to kill anymore. She thought so. Oi, there's one here. Oh, a young woman. Good job. Before we sell her, how about we have a taste first? While speaking such words, some men had surrounded Hinata. Ah, even in this place, there is a need. The world was full of despair, so she thought. The world was full of ugly people, that kind of world. I shall destroy it. I shall take it. I will surely usurp it all. I am righteous. There are no faults in my calculation. There never have been. That will never change. Suddenly my vision became clear, my hazy mind cleared, and my mind got sharper. In front of my eyes was someone that wanted to steal from me. I'll steal from them instead, their life. Thus, a slaughter took place by the hands of a girl. The time she took to kill the three men didn't exceed 5 minutes. The physical abilities of the girl who just got her powers was still not really high. With cold eyes, she evades the opponent's attack with minimal movement. She grabbed the collar of her opponent and without hesitation gouged out the opponent's eyes. Hooking her finger in his eye socket, she pulled the legs of the groaning man down and slammed his head on the ground as he fell. She pulls out the knife from the fallen man's waist and stabbed his throat. Now, one person down, the other men were stunned by the situation, and without waiting for them to put their guards up, she grabbed sand and threw it at them. The sand entered her eyes, causing the man to momentarily go blind. She landed a kick on him. The man fainted. Without a second glance, she went around behind another man and shoved the knife through his back into his heart. As intended, it pierced the heart through the gap between the ribs. She pulled out the knife, and gushing blood tainted Hinata. Pleasant warmth of blood. The men, of course, could not comment being dead, but there was one who was still alive. Hinata approached the fallen man and squatted down near him. He was terrified, but still alive. Still, there was a possibility that they had more companions. She grabbed his hair and lifted his face up, and used the unique skill, Usurper. Memory and techniques, all of it was taken from the remaining wreckage of the man. Hinata glanced at him and stabbed the knife into his neck. Even she Even though she kills, she knew basic mercy. It was her first murder in this world. From the people she killed from then on, she took not their knowledge and techniques. Now, with the techniques as the foundation, she became a strong person in this world. From then, 10 years had passed. Other than that, she didn't remember the people she had killed. Good guys, bad guys, Hinata killed them equally. Because everyone were equal in front of God. Ridiculously, over here she can kill all of them. So over here she was no longer a normal girl. Completely remembering the murder, leader of the Imperial Guards under the Pope's direct command, she was a beautiful woman that holds the title of Holy Knight's leader. That's why it now became impossible for her to move as she wanted. Please, someone raise a rebellion somewhere, she thought such a thing. And then someone knocked on her door. Excuse me, His Holiness Cardinal Nicholas Speltas came to visit you. Do you wish to meet him? What should I tell him? Nicholas, sure, he was attached to me. Let him in. Hinata decided to meet Nicholas. She was going to kill sometime with her faithful dog. Hopefully this will kill sometime. With a smile of a saint, so she hoped. End of chapter 21. Chapter 22. The adventurers who finally arrived. Adventurers who finally arrived. There were adventurers preparing to investigate the forest. They were B-rank adventurers, Cabal, Ellen, and Guido. With monster activity worsening, even the merchants have avoided entering. With protection fees rising, the trip would no longer be profitable. Thus, to cross the forest, one would have to proceed on foot, and in the first place, as no carriage could approach the Cave of the Seal, any trip would inevitably continue on foot. When they had finished some preparation and were about to set off, a single person called out to them, "Pardon me, if you are heading towards the forest, could I not perhaps accompany you halfway?" Was the voice feminine, masculine, young, old, that you couldn't figure out, nor could you see the person's expression. For some reason, that person wore a mask, an expressionless but beautiful mask. The stranger emitted a suspicious aura, but should be fine. Hey, you, before the leader. I gave permission. Seriously, what the hell? Really well, now that Nelson gave her okay, there's no use arguing, is there? The three accepted the stranger without a second thought. I am grateful. After saying those three words, the suspicious stranger silently followed the trio. Thus, Cabal's group of three obtained a new companion and set off on their investigation. Tontenkan, Tontenkan, Kan, Kan, Don. The forest was filled with the sound of cutting wood and blacksmith's hammer. The foundation of a new city is being laid, and new houses are being built. At first, to lay the plumbing, they had avoided building any houses, and it was but empty land. For the waterway, they redirected the water from the river. It's under construction, but they plan on constructing a building or water pipe control. There, the water will be purified and distributed to every household. As for drainage, it will be directed into an underground sewage. As it is made from wood, we decided to preserve it by hardening it in cement. And leading away from the city, it will end at a facility where it will be reprocessed into manure. Furthermore, we temporarily erected a building the size of a gymnasium on the outskirts. It serves as temporary lodging, and as such it's not made to last. All in all, the construction proceeds smoothly. Near the cave, at the seat of honor, I plan on placing my dwelling. Excuse me. From there, we'll first build the houses of the clan lords, followed by that of the commoners. As I want to get it right, the initial map was drawn with utmost precision, drawing across with large roads running through the city. This plan is best for overseeing the denizens' behavior, but it is easier to attack. TL long note for the curious mind. What this plan made me think of is of construction of Heian-kyo, modern Kyoto, and Edo, modern Tokyo. I have a feeling that it is those examples that Rimuru is referencing. Kyoto was planned to resemble the Chinese imperial city, and thus constructed square. It had two main roads running through it, leading to the seat of honor. The imperial palace, Edo, on the other hand, imitated the construction styles of castles, and using rivers was thus made into a spiral. In terms of defense, while both were well-known styles, Edo was considered superior. In any case, seems like having the goblins evolve into hobgoblins was the right decision. They quickly developed superior intellect and memorization. Also, their constitution and strength improved. According to the dwarfs, goblins are ranked F, but hobgoblins are monsters, deserving a C to D rank. In any case, I should probably treat them with the same respect as humans. In short, their rank varies equipment and their rank varies. Equipment and armor, individual class and skill, and other such factors greatly affect the rank. I mean, individual strength depends on the individual, right? The four I named lords, for example, are stronger than the rest. And Rigordo, whom I crowned king. Oh, you have spent your time here. I was looking for you. What a monster is all I want to say. He's huge and muscular. Compared to an ogre, he's not just similar, he seems stronger. Or so, Cajun said. Thus, it seems that evolution is affected not just by a name but also by the class. Truly, monsters' capabilities are wondrous. Probably should try bestowing a few more titles to test this theory. What's up? Hey, we have captured suspicious individuals, so I came to report. Suspicious? Oh, which monster race? No monsters, they are humans. As you have commanded, we did not lay our hands on them. Humans? Why all the way over here? Humans, huh? Finally. The opportunity I was waiting for. I have to start on friendly terms. Well, if they are like those idiot adventurers from before, I'll dispose of them or turn them into monster snacks. They were assaulted by a group of giant ants and were saved by a rigorous defense squad, who then took charge of their protection. There is evidence that they were investigating these lands. How shall we respond? I see. Seems like investigating on behalf of some country. I checked with the dwarfs, but Jura Forest is not any country's property, thus there's a good chance they are investigating the lands on behalf of an expanding country. If that's the case, that complicates the matter. Well, I'll decide after meeting them. Alright, I'll meet with them. Lead the way. Having so decided, I jumped on Rigordo's shoulder. Since Ranga moves around too quickly, moving on him is troublesome. This is no different from walking, but my low eye level bothers me. Besides, when trying to appear dignified, having people look down at you, literally, is counterproductive. But it's all an excuse. Rigordo with me on his shoulder walked to the captured adventurers. So, what kind of people are they? As I thought so, before my eyes, which I did not have, of course, I saw. Hey, you! I saw that first. You're terrible. I was aiming for that meat. Donna, I shall not yield when it comes to food. Mugu mugu, munching sound. I heard a boisterous group. That. To my silent question, many apologies. Somehow it seems that all their items were stolen, so we decided to prepare a meal on this. Huh, Rigurdo is pretty nice guy, it seems. Now, isn't this fine? Actually, well done. Treating those in need kindly is a good thing. I praised his actions. More importantly, they, without consulting me, decided on a course of action they thought best. That in itself is a wonderful thing, I imagine. I, henceforth, as to not cause Rimuru-sama any trouble, we shall further devote ourselves. Well, he's still down formal though. After that conversation, we entered the tent. To be precise, the people guarding outside opened the way in, and all the eyes followed me, with their mouths full of meat and vegetables, adventurers. Their eyes opened wide at the sight of me. However, it seems that they aren't aware that their surprise showed itself. Haven't I? Ah, the tree of the cave. But one of them I have never seen before, wearing a mask. How is he eating? Mogu Mogu, slowly at his own pace, but barbecue. Cool. I also want to taste. Nostalgic meat chime. Ow. Wouldn't taste buds just fall from somewhere? Oops, my mind seems to have wandered in a strange direction. Higurudo let me down at the main seat. Dear guests, although we cannot offer better hospitality, please make yourselves at home. Before you is our Lord Rimuro-sama. Having so introduced myself, he took the seat next to me. Gukuri, the sound of them swallowing what they were eating and drinking resounded. And what? A slime? Mogu Mogu. They're surprised, but really to react in the same way. Oh well, pleased to meet you. I am the slime Rimuro, not an evil slime. Boo! They responded to my greeting by spitting out food. However, the one wearing the mask seems to have kept his composure. What a rude bunch. Seems like they've been greatly surprised to see the slime talk. Well, I do understand the tree is surprised, but I'd rather they contain the food in their mouth. So what kind of people are they? It would be good if they were decent folk, but, well, after having regained their composure, that was rude of us. We never would have imagined to be saved by demons, but we are in your debt. Yeah, we work as human adventurers. This food, very delicious. These days we've been doing nothing but running, never having a decent meal. Truly, thank you. Thanks, we're in your debt. However, to think that hobgoblins were building a village here. Goho, goho, gusu, goku, goku. Well, at least they aren't panicking. Well, take your time chewing. We can talk when you finish. Having said that, I waited for them to finish their meal. They really should have just called me when they had finished. Seems like they can't be so considerate. Well, they did get flustered, but that will serve as practice for future encounters. From what I imagined entertaining human guests, prisoners, is certainly outside of my expectations. Not that I can do anything about it, and maybe because I was feeling a little unpleasant, I exited the tent. When they finished with their meal, I had them escorted to the tent, placed closets closest to the cave one for my personal use. Rigordo seemed very apologetic, but, well, don't sweat it, just learn for future reference. So I comforted him. The goblins are growing. Can't expect everything to be perfect from the start. Having entered my tent, I felt at ease. Rigordo had his goblina subordinates bring us tea. Seems much better compared to what they brought out before, but unfortunately I can't taste it to see improvement even here. How amusing. This is clearly a sign that they are evolving as a cultured race. Now time was spent on this and that. We apologize for earlier rudeness. While saying so, the four enter. It's a simple tent, so feels narrow. At the same time, as the goblinas to show them and leave, another set comes to bring them tea. See, I don't know them, but they've improved greatly in this respect. When night comes while drinking with the dwarfs, I do know that they discuss their lives and cultures. Well then, once again, pleased to meet you, the lord of this place. I am called Rimuru. For what reason have you come to these lands? That question would fall within their prediction. After all, they had plenty of time to discuss what answers they'll give. The pleasure is mine. I am Cabal. For now, I am this party's leader. This is Ellen, and this is Kido. Would you understand if I told you we are B-rank adventurers? Pleased to meet you. I am Ellen. Yo, Kido's the name. Pleased to make your acquaintance. As I thought, these three are a party, huh? At the B rank, they are moderately strong, but the cave would be impossible. And now then, the other one is, and this one has joined us temporarily for the journey, named Shizu-san. Call me Shizu, a voice that wouldn't show whether the speaker was a man, a woman, an elder, or a child. But I can tell gender apart with ease. For me, who can tell goblin sexes apart, this is a piece of cake. It's a girl. Furthermore, if I'm not mistaken, isn't she Japanese? That's the feeling that I get. The way she sips her tea and the way she sits. Since I don't know much about this world, I can't be certain, but surely that sitting posture is rare, right? Currently, the other three are sitting normally, sitting on the wall felts. The males have crossed their feet. The girl named Ellen also relaxed and reclines horizontally. If I think about it, aren't these guys letting their guard down a bit too much? Isn't there a sense of danger in this world? But enough of pointless chatter. Need to get down to business. How polite. And I'll summarize the conversation. Dot. I heard their story. These guys, without any restraint, they spilled the whole story. So, on the orders from their guild master, they needed to come to the forest and investigate if any suspicious happenings were, well, happening. In any case, he says to search for anything suspicious. But what should we call suspicious and what normal, huh? Right. Should have asked him to explain in more details. There's a limit to how much we can investigate. Thus, they began bad-mouthing their guildmaster. These guys are hopeless. I feel like I understand their poor guildmaster. And when they had thought they found something fishy, a hole in a boulder, they drew their swords. It was a nest of giant ants, to say the least. They were surprised. I really want to ask why they drew their swords then. I really want to ask, but it's surprising they've lived this long. And from there, for 3 days, they desperately run, having abandoned all their things. If I had to say something, it would be, well done, but I refrain. Wouldn't the most suspicious things be found around here, like in the cave? I asked. No, there's nothing in there. Did you know? They said that the storm dragon was healed in there, but without showering once, we searched that place for 2 weeks without finding anything. Wow, Ichut, that's not something you should be talking about right now. You see, the one who spilled it is you, Nesan, not my problem. Ellen suddenly says, causing the men to panic. Well, we had passed each at that time, so I knew. Oh, and it seems that bat culture exists here. I'm planning on building a bat house in the city as well. That aside, you say you investigated that cave, but for what reason? Doesn't seem like they came for treasure in any case. While shaking his head and with a sigh, since we mentioned it, we have no choice. The thing is, as Ellen mentioned, the black dragon's presence suddenly vanished, and I see. I couldn't have known, but Vildora's disappearance caused quite an uproar among the humans. He was supposed to have been sealed, but his disappearance causing such chaos. What to say, he was an amazing dragon. He liked to talk a great guy all around. However, isn't his influence too great to have sent someone to investigate? Building a city this close to the cave, was that a mistake? To say nothing of the fact that the cave's previously abundant magical energy had decreased, an unusual phenomenon we couldn't understand. Right now, its magic levels are average, and is no more than a normal cave. Well, it's filled with strong monsters, so it's best not to enter it. No treasure in it either, and not a single ore to be found. Powerful monsters and no benefit to be gained. If you search around, you might find a thief's beer drop, but nothing major. Tuki, heartbeat. The ore, the cause of that particular predicament is none other than the one in front of you. Well, it should be fine. They won't know if I don't tell them. But their story continued. Since we mentioned it, we might as well tell you. With such phrases, they discussed many things. Maybe these guys are just good people. With the caves worth declining, there was no reason to investigate around here. I thought that we'd have to move the city, but should be fine then. In any case, since no country has rights to this land, they have no right to complain. For now, by the way, as you see, we are amidst constructing a city here. Will that cause any trouble with the guild? I tried asking. No, should be fine, I think. Yeah, it's no skin off the guild's back, but countries. Yeah, no idea about them. That was their answer, and it's not like I expected guild members to know how countries would react. When I thought that, Shizu, who had been quiet until now, groaned loudly. It suddenly began. End of chapter 22. Chapter 23. Flame Giant. Flame Giant. Silence was suddenly broken. Cracks ran along the surface of her mask, and magical power gushed from within. Slowly, Shizu rose and began to mute her. Summoning magic, Ellen explained in surprise. Oi, seriously, what rank she going to summon? Oh, looking at the scale of the magic, it's going to be monster with rank B plus or higher. Dana Kata. Do not say things so leisurely, it can't be stopped. As expected from skilled adventurers, they ended the conversation in instant, and then spread out. First, refrain her. Mud hand. Oh, yeah, a heavy collision, knocked out. Alan makes rope to tie her, while Cabal launches a technique with his body. Kido was an equally important member. He immediately assumed guard. Fumu, although they are only rank B, their teamwork is first class. There is no wasted movement. But, explode. Shizu swung her finger, pointing first down and then up. And then a small-scale explosion centered on Shizu occurred, shredding my tent to pieces. The tent aside, are any of the three injured of that explosion? As I wasn't harmed in the slightest, I wondered about them. While attempting to knock down Shizue, who had been restrained with mud hand, Kabal was blown away by the explosion. The lookout Kido sensed danger and was able to push Ellen away, saving both of them. Oi, you guys okay? I asked them. We're okay. Wait, all my body hurts. I better receive injury compensation. So the two responded, it hurts. You guys, please worry a bit about your leader. While complaining, Kabal stood up. What a sturdy guy. I knew Shizusan could use magic, but even summoning, the heck she was saying. No, don't worry about that. As far as I know, for a summoner to use a chant isn't heard. Guido, stop moving when saying that then. No way, Explosion Monarch. In any case, the situation is just as I had thought. Shizu continued to chant as her body continued to emit red light. Something began to emerge. Her mask slightly rose and black hair freely flowed before it. What is her goal for her appearance to become so strange? Suddenly, Rigurudo, help evacuate everyone. Bring them someplace safe. But it's an order. When you finish the evacuation, call Ranga over here. I have received your order. Rigurudo immediately began the evacuation. From what I can see, the goblins won't be of any help here, and I don't want to see them slaughtered pointless. Nor did I call Ranga to fight Shizu. The reason is simple. Perhaps these adventurers have merely set up this play to create an opportunity to strike at us. Thus, the massacre they plan to beset upon us enabled them to so freely discuss those things, no matter how trivial it actually was. So when we encircled Shizu, they could strike at us from behind. Oi, Guido! Explosion! What now? Who's that? Quickly answering his question, that is someone who was active 50 years ago, a hero-like person. Ellen received such response. Someone famous, the moment I thought so. From Shizu's face, the mask fell. The flame rose as the wind. It swallowed Shizu, and from within, a flame giant had appeared. Summoning magic, flame giant, Ifrit, the ruler of flame, swallowed up all things. Voice of the world resounded. Then Shizu's body and the flame giant, Ifrit, fused as one. Gee, it's Ifrit, a high-ranking spirit with a rank over A. Wow, first time I see it. So, no way to win against it, huh? There's no doubt about it. She's the explosion monarch. Phew, done. Impact and heat slowly approach us. It seems the trio tried putting up a magic barrier, but they were blown away with a single blow. Although they didn't die, they're clearly harmed, conscious but unable to move. In any case, they are fighting for real, no question about it. And so I can officially ignore the possibility that they came here to wreak havoc. But now that skill has considerable power. Releasing bottomless magical power with the flame giant, Shizu in the center, a scorching wind surrounded her with a diameter of 300 meters. This fellow, if I don't fight, I'm a gunner. However, there was something strange. Even in this situation, I did not feel any fear. Did becoming a monster cause such a change? I did feel fear of the Dora and the black snake. Maybe I'm just using them as comparison. Oi, what's your objective? Fu cut to shock. Unlike the previous explosion, she radiated a heat wave this time. However, I had already moved from that spot. With my perception speed, even if something moves at the speed of sound, I could evade it. Rather than the previous explosion, the heat wave came toward us, radiation. However, I already avoided the wave. On a side note, I'm glad we haven't built a city yet. Those were my sincere thoughts. Moreover, with all the trees cut down, we fought in an open area. Had we been inside the forest, it would have caught on fire, causing me much trouble. However, don't get carried away. Bishun, I take aim at the abdomen and shot water blade, but the attack just before reaching the flame giant Shizu evaporated. A maelstrom of flames surrounded the flame giant, protecting it. Mumu, so it seems, water blade cannot pass through it. Would firing at full power be a good idea? So I thought, but then I imagined a steam explosion. Yeah, that won't be fun. Guess I have to resort to this at that moment. Ranga had arrived. You called, my lord. For now, I ordered Ranga to retrieve the tree. Then, good, quick retreat to a safe place. I'll defeat it. Although he nearly rejected that order, I will do as my lord said. I wish for your fortune in battle. With those words, he left while holding the three people in his mouth. Now I can fight without reserve. The flames raged around her. Using my perception ability, I accurately grasped the distribution of heat within it. Although the flame giant Shizu was creating clones of itself and sending them to attack, I could easily predict the danger resulting from the flame's temperature. Against me, that attack will never land. But at the same time, my attack will have no effect. What a troublesome flame that is. The ground turned into magma. The temperature inside must be unbelievably high. Thus the problem to use skills like paralysis breath or noxious breath. I need to come within 10 meters of the target. I can't just stroll into that place. To begin with, such as paralysis breath or noxious breath, it would be necessary for the target to be within 10 meters when it was used. In that high temperature, it would only be water. I cannot afford to do that. I don't want to class change into a charred slime. What should I do? Neither of us can cause decisive damage on the other. If this is how it ends, I should have predated more. While I was deep in thought, a magic circle appeared below my feet. Dangerous. By the time my intuition screamed, so I was already trapped. Wide area capture barrier. Is this a special skill of the flame giant Shizu? Without a single chant, the magic circle instantly appeared. With a range of 100 meters, my body will soon turn into vapor or gas and be consumed by the scorching heat of the flame. It's the strongest fire at range attack. Fair circle, she said with voice neither feminine nor masculine, young nor old. There was no escape. I was prepared for death. I was sure I hadn't let my guard down, but I feel like I could have done something. Maybe depending on everybody without trying to look cool, or mimicking the black wolf using its speed and piercing through the heat. Not wait for it to move first. Not do something stupid. Try to hit it with black lightning. Should have tried any one of this, etc. However, although my perception speed should be 1,000 times the norm. I just don't sense the damage. Well, maybe dying without pain is a good thing. But seriously, isn't this too slow? Asymptotically. Strange, I'm sure I was engulfed by the fire. Solution. Due to heat fluctuation resistance EX, the fire attack has been nullified. Somehow I had forgotten about heat fluctuation resistance EX. Is what I felt. Don't reply to every one of my thoughts, stupid. Just such abuse, I could feel it respond with that, though I'm surely just imagining it. There's no way Great Sage has developed its ego. Ha 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 ha. Definitely just my imagination. No, so no problem. Well now, oi oi, it disables fire attacks. What did somebody set the mode to super easy? Is everything going according to plan? I'm doomed. I cried, but soon the tables turned, just as the theory teaches. In any case, I can now end this fight quickly. Now, what should I do? Oops. I proceed I proceed to secretly untangle the flame giant Chizu with sticky steel thread. In just a bit, it'll be my win. I made sticky steel thread, a combination of the sticky and steel thread, which I created from days of diligent practice. Additionally, my resistance seems to be indefinitely active. In other words, I'm not taking damage. Checkmate. Impossible. For the first time, signs of fear revealed themselves in her voice. I underestimated you, but you too underestimated me. This I'll forgive as we were both at fault. So you're free to resent me. Is it my turn next? Good too. The flame giant Chiza tried to make her escape. However, I had predicted that action. There is no escape from my sticky steel thread. Thus, I slowly walked to her to deliver the finishing blow on the Ifrit, who had probably possessed Shizu and manipulated her body. And without panicking, unable to run away nor even struggle, such a pitiful creature, I approach. And then the answer, of course, is yes. The dazzling light wraps around us and then suddenly disappears. The remaining actors, me and an old woman. End of chapter 23. Chapter 24. Sorry for the delay. Fire pouring from the sky like rain. Chapter 24 Reminiscence Funeral March. Fire pouring from the sky like rain. That's the first scene I remember. My mother's hand that I held so dearly seemed far too light. I was afraid to look above it. The napalm bursting in the air turns my surrounding into a sea of flames. Should I run someplace? Everything is covered in fire. Izawa Shizoe was slowly drowning in despair. And then she felt she was bathed in strong light. So this is where I die. She was just a young girl, but that much she could understand. She was 4 at that time. With no relatives, she lived alone with her mother. Her father was drafted, and his face she could not recall. She felt neither blessed nor unfortunate. That being the norm, she could do not but accept. Do you wish to live? If you desire life, answer my call. A voice resounded in her head. Do I want to live? Why? I don't understand. She was too young to answer such a question. However, looking at her mother, who was reduced to nothing but a hand. I want to live, she screamed. Acknowledged, answering the summoner's request. Success. I want to live without having to fear the fire. Acknowledged, acquiring extra skill, fire manipulation, success. The next time I opened my eyes, I was in a demon's lair. The one in front of me was a beautiful demon lord. Long golden hair, blue eyes, a well-ordered face, almond-shaped eyes, and skin so pale it's almost transparent, so beautiful that it wouldn't be strange to mistake him for a woman. Leon Cromwell, he is whom the humans call the Demon Lord, also known as the Blonde Devil. Ah, failed again. He so muttered, losing interest in her. However, he did not kill the girl whose body was covered in burns. She did not matter to him, and the girl found that fact vexing. Even now, she sometimes recalls that beautiful face and the arrogant eyes devoid of interest. But at the time, she could only survive by clinging to him. In the end, she was saved by the Demon Lord's whim. Wait a second, she reached out to him. Maybe he, beautiful like an angel, would heal my pain, so she thought, but though it was just a trash, but this thing is suitable with fire, huh? With those words, he called forth the flame giant Ifrit, with no incantation, as if he were breathing, and the summoned Ifrit obeyed without question. I bestow upon you flesh, use it. Those words, to the girl, became undeniable proof dashing her hopes, and thus the pain she felt turned into hatred, as this curse trauma engraved itself upon her heart. However, it can also be said that this possession enabled her to keep her life. Since then, how much time had passed? As a flame demon, she ruled over one of the demon lord's castle, by his side as a high demon. Gutsun, Gutsun, Gutsun. The footsteps reverberated through the castle halls. The demon lord had already run away, abandoning this castle. The girl was the rear guard, a sacrificial piece. The demon lord had treated her as a tool until the very end. Nothing had indicated otherwise. The one who was approaching was the hero. Long black hair gathered into a ponytail and covering her body, black light armor, a beauty that would rival the demon lord. The only difference, the hero was a woman. With one glance, she was certain, I can't win. When that thought overpowered Ifrit's minds, a little of the girl's ego had returned. She looked the hero in the eyes. Help me. Words that one would easily ignore. Who would trust the words of a demon? However, it'll be fine from now on. Good job enduring this far. And from then on, she was carried by the hero. The anti-demon mask. She wore restrained Ifrit and hid her burns. Her whole body she covered with a robe. and thus she followed the hero, and one day she came to be called the Explosion Monarch. Then one day the hero left on a journey. Her reason she did not understand. It was probably a reason of the hero, a reason the hero could not ignore. The girl as well planned similar action, that one day she set on a journey to kill the demon lord who had saved her life and then threw her away. That is, killing the demon lord Leon Cromwell became her life's goal. Therefore, the girl hardly found the hero's actions reproachable. But there was one regret left. She had never seen the hero smile. Since then, the girl became famous for her heroic deeds. Sometimes called one of the founders of the Freedom Association, she had worked for the expansion and benefit of the Adventurer Cooperation Union. She also took part training adventurers and her successors. At one time, she had taught excellent pupils. With a sincere, pure gaze, a boy, Kagurasaka Yuki. With a depressed gaze, a girl, Sakaguchi Hinata. These two were excellent students and fellow Japanese world travelers. These two were polar opposites, the bright and optimistic Yuki and the grudge against the world Hinata. That's probably because Hinata was attacked the moment she came here. So thought Shizue. She was able to kill the assailants and thus escaped safely, but probably made some frightening memories as a result. She thought that Hinata was somehow similar to herself, and thus grew sympathetic, but that was a mistake. Sensei, thank you for the care you have shown. I fear there's nothing else I can learn from you, nor shall we meet again, I think. With those words, and without a second glance, Hinata had left. She, in a mere month, had surpassed Shizue in strength. Such overwhelming excellence. After a few years, Hinata had received an important post within the empire, but was not satisfied. Rather, she had treated the promotion with mild indifference. In comparison, Yuki was a sweet boy. After the Adventurers Corporation Union had formally changed its name to Freedom Association, Yuki had introduced the current ranking system. As a result of it, casualties during subjugation missions greatly decreased. And thus, to this day, Shizue had been sporting Yuki behind the scenes. That is, she no longer could do anything but guide new adventurers. And recently, the time she spent as a demon had begun to haunt her in her dreams. As her lifespan dwindled, she felt she was unable to restrain Ifrit's consciousness any longer. However, the anti-demon mask has yet to fail her, so she told herself, I don't have long to live, so let's at least shoot an arrow at the demon lord. Thus, she decided to set off, which she reported to Yuki. Without a word, he acknowledged her resolve. Perhaps he had wanted to stop her, but at that time, a message came from the Pharma's Kingdoms Guild. Veldora's disappearance confirmed. Will continue investigation. Was it perhaps some divine guidance? In any case, they needed help to break into the forest. Someone needed to sleep in with the trio. Their specialties she had heard from Yuki, and as she had heard they were a cheerful bunch, she was glad to have met such good companions on her last journey. A strange city, saved by monsters, they were brought there. Well, it wasn't really a city though, lacking a single building. Everyone lived in tents, clearly a temporary measure. Even so, it was full of life and monsters, happily worked there. A bizarre city. It was unthinkable, in the first place, to be saved by monsters. Had she used her flame power, she could have easily burned away the giant ants, but she felt that she shouldn't. That is, each time she used her powers, Ifrit's consciousness would strengthen. Her negligence could lead to her powers running wild. Thus, she met a strange monster with the attitude of a king, arrogantly carrying itself. Amusing. Although the monster could speak, the words uttered were, Although I am a slime, I am not an evil slime, and such. A line that no one would ever believe. The fun times abruptly ended. I still haven't achieved my goal. At the moment, her life force seemed to have finally run out. Ifrit took over her consciousness. Again, I'll cause problems for, as if sneering at her thoughts and hopes the demon had manifested, and she lost her consciousness. Dot. I tried to check on the woman's condition. Excuse me. Chances are, no matter how long I wait, she will probably not awaken. However, as a compatriot of mine, I want to see her thought to the end, through to the end. Those were my thoughts. The three injured adventurers were in high spirits. I won't be paying your hospital bills. I wanted to shout, but what is this? The burns have completely disappeared, and my skin feels smooth and shiny. Awesome. With those injuries, I thought I'd be bedridden for weeks. Well, I'll be. These guys have some amazing medicine. They seem to have healed without issue. However, but with this, we won't be getting any injury compensation, will we? Yeah, no one will believe us. Yeah, but I take this over being left with injuries. Suddenly, they had started to discuss their financial worries. They can't read the mood at all. Let's tell them to come hang out here sometime. What should we report to the guildmaster? But instead, they were the ones who asked. I happily left a message for them to deliver. I admire adventurers, but since I probably won't be able to avoid a background check, registering with the guild may prove hard for a monster. Thus, to repay his debt, Cabal will mention the name Rimuru to the guildmaster upon their return. Really, what a great guy. Being pleased with them, I decided to give them some parting gifts. Spider robe, scale mail, hard leather armor. I handed to them those goods along with 10 pieces of the restoration medicine. Wow, what's with this robe? So light but sturdy. Actually, very sturdy. Whoa, the famous scale mail. Wait, isn't this Master Garm's product? I'll make it my family heirloom. Eh, is this fine? This is clearly wasted on someone like me, and to have used the skin of fang wolves. What to say? A noisier reaction than expect. And well, I gave it to them because they lost their equipment in that fire, and they wouldn't be able to buy them replacements either. It was clearly not my fault, but I can sympathize a bit. And besides, what I gave them is not but a test product, which of course I won't tell them because they are so happy with the gifts. No need to disappoint. No problem. No need to tell them either, since even as a test product, it's good quality. Well, if they are this happy, they'll definitely deliver the message. In the end, the three would call me Dana, benefactor, and were quite attached. And although they did worry greatly for Shizusan, they set off 3 days later. And the week had passed. Shizusan has awoken. This is, I see, sorry for the trouble. She's fully conscious. Seems like she clearly remembers her time as the demon. I saw a dream, a nostalgic dream, of a city to which I can no longer return. In Japan. Hey, Slime-san, could you tell me your name? I thought I already introduced myself as Rimuru. Rimuru. She closed her eyes as if in deep thought. Could you tell me your real name? So she asked. Had she noticed? And after a moment of hesitation, fine, you won't last long anyways. It's Mikami Satoru. My real name. Didn't think I'd ever say it again, as I thought. You're Japanese, huh? I wondered if that was the case. That air you carry, silence and then I also asked this of my disciples, what do you think became of that beautiful city, the one that turned into sea of flames? Oh, let me show you. Having said so, I conveyed my memories with telepathic communication, a truly useful skill at times like this. Ah, a tear rolled down her cheek, and Slime-san, no, Satoru-san, would you listen to my request? What is it? Probably some pointless request anyways, but since I decided to look after her to the end, I can at least listen to her request. Please eat me. What? What did this granny just say? You ate the curse placed upon me. It made me so happy. Well, I did want to beat the guy who cursed me senseless, but in any case, it would have been impossible for me. My last request, could you put me to rest within yourself? You know, I hated to be in this world, but I couldn't bring myself to hate this world, just like that guy. There's a chance I someday meet that guy again, so I don't want to be reborn in this world. Please, I beg you, eat me. What a request. It's far too simple for me. For me to become her seal, for me to succeed her hatred. Am I unsure to put her heart at ease and to send her off peacefully? I made my decision. Fine, I'll carry out your vengeance. What is his name? She opened her eyes wide to my question, revealing the burn marks with it and with tears flowing down. Leon Cromwell, the strongest demon lord. As if in a prayer, she looks me in the eyes, I swear, by the name Mikami Satoru. No, by the name Rimuru Tempest. I'll force Leon Cromwell to regret having incurred your hatred. Thank you, she muttered, and she closed her eyes, and as if falling asleep, her last breath escaped her. Activate unique scale predator, yes or no? Rest in peace within me, yes, I respond, and I pray. Within me, without waking for eternity, may you see only the happiest of dreams. Status: Rimuru Tempest, Species Slime, Divine Protection, the Stormcrest. Titles: One who commands monsters, Magic None. Skills: Unique Skill, Great Sage, Unique Skill Predator. Slime specific skills: Dissolve, Absorb, Regenerate. Extra skill: Water Manipulation. Extra skill: Magic Perception. Acquired skills: Black Serpent, Heat Detection, Noxious Breath, Centipede, Paralysis Breath, Spider, Sticky Thread, Steel Thread, Bat, Ultrasound Waves, Lizard, Body Armor, Wolf, Supreme Sense of Smell, Telepathic Communication, Intimidation, Shadow Step, Black Lightning, Fire Giant, Clone, Flame Change, Area Boundary, Resistances, Thermal Fluctuation, Resistance EX, Physical Attack Resistance, Pain Resistance, Electricity Resistance, Paralysis Resistance. Gutsun, Gutsun, Gutsun. The girl lifts her face up, her young, lovely face, and with relief she smiled. Here you were, don't leave me again. But the shadows of men only shook their heads, pointing someplace. The girl, her face turning sad, looking to where they were pointing to. And there, mother, filled with happiness, she rushed towards her parent. The shadows, having confirmed this, disappeared as if they never existed in the first place. Perhaps they were but phantoms created by the girl herself. And so the girl reunited with her mother. Her long journey had now come to an end. End of chapter 24. Chapter 25. Human Transformation. Shizusan said she passed me her life's only goal. Now, to realize the goal that befalls me, I must start to gather information about Demon Lord. I had accepted it easily, but the promise I made must be fulfilled. I am a man who keeps his promises. She left me with a new ability, unique skill, shapeshifter, and extra skill, fire manipulation. Incidentally, it seems I also ate Flame Giant Ifrit. Even though it wasn't my enemy, this guy is still dangerous. After all, this guy surpasses rank A. Without a question, neither Black Snake nor Black Wolf would be able to win against it. I need to research its abilities little by little, but before that, there was something more important that I need to check right now. Right, humanization. I enter a simple tent, newly set up for my personal needs. No one can enter, I said and closed the door. Coo, 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 coo ha ha, coo ha ha ha. I correctly execute a three-stage laughter. It likes how villains laugh, like the one Verdora used in chapter 3. Transform. Transform. Although there aren't any sound effects executing mimicry, human. It's the first time I'm looking forward to the mimicked body this much. However, what? Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. The black fog that always appeared during mimicking didn't come out. What's going on? So I thought, but my eye level became slightly higher. I could also feel hands and feet, and my skin color changed from the normal pale blue. Moo 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 Though I don't really get it, I feel somewhat different than from what I had intended. It's a shame that there was no mirror. However, although I don't want to admit it, but I remember once feeling the same way. A long time ago, around 30 years ago, feels just like when I had been attending elementary school. I wanted to stop to think for a bit, but there was something I had just noticed. Notice, there was a big difference. It's gone. In the new form I had taken, my son had been missing. What is the meaning of this? I panicked. I immediately went to check. Thus I came to know a shocking fact. No, none, smooth. There was nothing. Well, if you think about it, when I mimicry monsters, I had never wondered about such things. With no need for excretion, I can't be expecting to suddenly have those organs, can I? An obvious truth. I, who doesn't reproduce, has no need for reproductive organs. The answer, the state I'm in right now. The fact was, with deep sense of loss, I understand. Suddenly, a worry beset me. No way. I tried checking my head in a hurry. It had bushy and soft feel. I let out a sigh of relief. I don't look like an alien or some suspicious person. Thank goodness. Come to think about it, the black wolf's fur was also bushy. Just imagining a furless monsters makes me feel bad. Stop. Any further thoughts may prove dangerous. Now, had I, who always maintains a cool head, became flustered? By this time, I had already accepted the thing regarding my son. However, it's rather painful that I can't check this body. And then a nice idea comes to mind. Can I use clones? As expected from myself, whether it's possible to use in this state, I don't know, but let's try it. Black fog gushes out from my body. It gathers in front of my eyes and turns into a human form. In a moment, it completed. This is dangerous. It's dangerous in many ways. First, the appearance. The figure is lovely, silver-haired, beautiful girl or beautiful boy. It's natural because there is no sex, but in any case, the features were more those like those of a girl. Probably because the original body was Shizazan's. My genes were nowhere to be seen. That was, well, probably to be expected. A lovely child standing naked. Well, there are no parts to be hated, but that's not the problem. This seems morally dangerous, but the insanely cute face to Shizazan. Good job, let me say that. I was a nice guy, but never this beautiful. Thus, I honestly thank you. I was wrapped in fur, and the clone also appeared with it. Right now, I still had not prepared any clothes. The reason why it's dangerous was because of its abilities. The clone had excellent thinking capabilities and completely linked to me, which mean both are me. There is no difference between the main body and the clone. No, the ability of the flame giant, if its clones, clearly are inferior. Yet I feel that my clone are not inferior. No, I wonder if it is lacking. There are differences. The magic power capacity. Originally, the amount of magic power you can use is limited. It can't use more than originally given to it. It's possible to keep giving it more magic power. However, I have quite a lot of magic power depending on how I use it. It can be pretty powerful. However, the flame giant, if it's created about 10 clones, whereas my high performance clones are limited to a single body. Though if seen from opponent's side, it's definitely a cheat. The last reason, there was a lack of discomfort when mimicking. I noticed it when the black fog did not occur. For example, black wolf. When you're turning into the black wolf, the mimicry configures it inside the black fog, but it's inferior to Slime's body abilities. Even though Slime's body doesn't have limbs, there are no restrictions on its physical movement because the cell abilities were abnormally high. Each one of the cells is muscle, brain, and also a nerve. Do you get it? The eye transmits information that the brain then processes, but the slime avoids this process. With great sage my perception speed are 1,000 times the norm. Thus, my reaction speed is far above the ordinary person. However, the body created inside the black fog has some lag time for the thoughts to reach the brain, actual brain. Perhaps the drop in quality of the clone was caused by this, but mimicking the human being does not release black fog because its reaction speed is equal to the slime, thus no discomfort. And due to the fact that there are limbs now, its motor movements are better. But it's a child. Still, it's easier to move than a slime. Also, because there's no need for black fog, there is no need to consume magic power. From now on, let's try considering this as the main form. So I thought. Suddenly, I got an idea, so I issue an order to the clone to change itself smoothly. The clone began to growth. The physique becomes blurry, fluttering silver hair, beautiful medieval looks, perfect. Furthermore, from it can change into a woman or man of any type. It can become macho or fat. It also can become young man or old man. It found it possible to mimic into a variety of conditions. Also, the reason for the black fog was apparently to accommodate the additional mass, so turning into an adult requires it. This might be a good as I can thus enhance my physical strength. Although the reaction speed decreases, it is more advantageous to have larger strength, while speed are also one of the more important elements in a fight, so I think. From then on I carried out more experiments and got used to this body's abilities. Thus, I in this world get my hands on a human body. End of chapter 25.